Hey folks, it's Frithgar here, how you doing? Welcome back to Farming Simulator 19 here on Ravenport. We are going to carry straight on from where we left off in the last episode, so let's get to it. And it's got that little triangle, it'll then turn round and it'll go to there, and I think that might be a mistake. I think we may actually want to turn it round and do that again. I'll bring you... Let's bring that one up to there a minute. You know what I'm going to do? I've got an idea for this. No, actually, no, that's a bad idea. We've already started spreading fertilizer now, so we'll just let it go to there. And that's going to go up through, and that's going to spread fertilizer up to there, but it's most likely going to run all the way up to the very end of the field before it tries to turn around. So we've just got to make sure that it does this job properly. We've got... There's our machinery down in the fields. I wonder if I should... Yeah, I might actually start that plough. Going again. We've got a little bit there that is just spread, and it'll also spread another little bit up there on that corner. But I got a feeling because of that corner, what it's going to do is it's going to spread a little bit there, and then it's going to stop. It's going to say... It's going to get right down to... Oh, no, maybe it won't, because it's still got a little strip. Going to turn round. It is going to do it. It is actually going to do it. Yes, it's going to overlap all of that bit. But honestly, I don't care. I really don't care. So long as it puts fertilizer down everywhere that it's supposed to put the fertilizer, we'll be happy. See, it's putting it down there, exactly where it's supposed to all go. That's working nicely. And then we've got the strip up through there that... It's actually more than half of the fertilizer spreader width that is being covered, and then it's going to open out into the full one up there, and it'll carry on with that. Right. Okay, you're doing good. You're doing absolutely grand. Let's get you moving. I'll run you up this way a little bit. There. Like that. Slow you down. So we'll just keep an eye on what the hired help is doing up in that top field while we go cruising along this way. Once I get up to the other end, I'm going to start that plough running again as well. So that one can get going with this field here. And you'll notice that with... Actually, I was going to say, you notice that we're filling this a lot slower than we were. I'm not so sure that we are. It seems to be a reasonably steady rate that it's filling us with wood chips. Despite the fact that we're doing a lot less on this pass than we did on the last pass. We still gained 2% on this. What have I gained? I've gained 2,500 litres of wood chips in that pass across the field. Yeah, about 2,600. Right, I'll stop there a second. And, oh, that's the one I want. We'll go to you, and I'll just press H, just like that. Plonk that down. That one can keep going there. Alright, so yeah, I really have no idea if this is anything close to realistic. And yes, I know that we do have some actual poplars there in the field that could present a problem. I'm going to ignore those. I'm going to bring this one, spin you round. There we go. Right, let's go. Back across the field again. We're inching closer to the finish point on this end of the field. Inching closer and closer. I'm kind of looking forward to getting to that point on this field, to be honest, because it means that we'll have just about finished. It'll be done, right? We'll only have a little bit of short work left, and we'll be looking at just finishing up the job and disappearing. We're going to need to drive this one back to the dealership, and I'm actually questioning at the moment whether I should keep the New Holland forager or whether I should use the Krone forager. Because the New Holland forager, it's got it, and we do have a Kemper header that we could do this with. Right, I want to go to you down here. Are you actually going to plough in those? No, you're not. You're not going to plough those in. You will on the next time round. I want to see it plough in those poplars. I want to see what it's going to look like when it ploughs in the poplars. Right, so this, again, we're just doing a single line of the poplars. We're not actually, like, crossing two of them. So, once again, we've done roughly 2,500 litres has gone into our truck. So we'll spin round again, and I'm thinking this time we may end up with more than that. Let's just see what you're up to over here. Right. Ooh. Okay, yeah, I did wonder if that would stop. You're done there. Go. Not to you. You. Right. Yeah, I literally just want to go in a straight line up across here, I think, to find it. And my big... Oh, wait, is that it? That's it right there, I think. That's saying that it's finished. That's saying that it's finished. That's saying that it's finished. I'm just going to keep doing this. I'm just going to keep inching it forward a bit. Ah, there we go. Look, it's found it now. Ah, there. Right. That's the last little slice. Let it do that. And let me just have a look on the map. Yeah. Oh, wait a minute. No, it's tidying it up properly. It's doing all of it. That feels ready to go, other than the... We've got one more bit. Oh, let's start the engine. Right. Oh, now, poplars. We're actually ploughing in the poplars here. Right. There they go. We're ploughing them in. Now, I do appreciate that this is definitely not something that would happen. But they're done. There. We've ploughed in a few of the poplars. I'm happy now. I am actually happy. I did want to do that a little bit. At least a little bit. Even if we don't get to do it for the rest of the field, because it's all going to fit into this trailer. Let's see. We're 4.5... well, roughly 2,500 litres for each pass of the field that we're doing at the moment. This one, we're now doing most of 2 rows. I don't know how much of this we'll do 2 rows on. We're definitely doing 2 rows on some. We're doing like it's like 1.5 rows, isn't it? So we're going to do more than 2,500 on this one. We were about 4,700, I think. Yeah, we are. Look at that. Look, those numbers are going up a lot more this time. So it is a variable rate. Now it's gone back to normal. That's a bit disappointing. Right, well, at least we know that it's a variable rate. We're just approaching 50,000 litres. We've got 30,000 litres of capacity. No, 35,000 left on the trailer. We're at 59% on our trailer. So I'm thinking we're going to fill up before we reach the end of the field. That's definitely something I think is going to happen. I don't know, like, I used to hear a lot about wood chips and... The biomass wood chips and poplars, like they were a big thing, and a lot of people were moving to them. I don't hear quite so much about them anymore. Now, is that because they've just sort of become an accepted part of agriculture, and so it's not really an innovative new product, and so it's not really worth rabbiting on about all the time? Or are they becoming less popular? I know that wood pellets in general can be fairly expensive to produce. It's finding the wood in order to be able to make the wood pellets, and it can be a rather costly process, getting that timber. And so there were quite a few producers that were looking for alternative sources, such as the miscanthus grass and stuff like that. But I'm not really sure whether this is still like an ongoing thing, whether poplars are still a big thing for wood pellet producing. Is the pellets, are they like still focusing on timber, or are they now moving towards other forms of biomass instead? I don't have as much to do with it. I used to have more to do with this industry than I do now, and so I don't really know quite as much about it as I used to. I'm not keeping up to date with quite as much in the industry as I used to, and so therefore my knowledge on the subject is starting to lack a lot more than it used to. So if anybody does know more about this tonight, and I have no doubt that there are quite a few of you, could you please hop into the comment section and fill me in? Fill in the blanks on my ignorance. I would very much appreciate it. Is this still a really big production thing? Is there still a lot of this being grown? Is it getting less popular? Is production of it shifting to other products instead of poplars? You know, I know that we got the poplar baler. I'm assuming but then I know that that's not just for poplar, and the poplar baler, I've seen that one being used for baling up gorse bushes on the moors and large areas of brambles and stuff like that. But the video that I remember seeing most of all was it was going through, and large areas of moorlands in the UK, they go through every now and then, and they manage the moorlands, and they go through and they cut back huge areas of the gorse bushes. They let them grow for 3 or 4 years, and then they chop it all back. And the reason they do this is to free up more of the grazing, because as the gorse bushes spread, there's less and less that the moorland can actually be used for. Right? The cattle can't eat the gorse bushes. I mean, they do have a little nibble, and the sheep have a little nibble, but in general, they can't really eat very much of it. And so the gorse bushes are kind of just like taking up space. And they'll go through every few years, and they chop them all off. And the other reason that they go through every few years and chop them all off is safety management as well, because if they don't, those gorse bushes, they get bigger and bigger and bigger, and old gorse, the older growth, it doesn't tend to fall off the gorse bushes very much. The way that happens is that 2- and 3-year-old growth on the gorse bushes, it starts to dry out. You'll get year 1 is bright green. If you've got a big gorse bush, year 1 is bright green, year 2 is dark green, and that will tend to stay there. Year 3 and 4, it starts to dry out, and then after that, you've got this layer underneath the outside layers of green, bright green in the summer for the very outer edges, and then green, you still got green in there, it's a darker green. Underneath that, you've got brown, and that is absolutely tinder dry, and it's got oils in it as well. Gorse burns really, really well. Anybody who lives near pine forests will know all about oils in evergreen plants burning well, right? It's like a pine forest, and gorse goes whoosh. You light gorse just a little bit. You cut a gorse branch off, a big branch. You drop it on the fire, and it is scary just how fast it will go up in flames. And I'm not kidding, because the green will burn just as well as the brown. The stuff that's dried out, that is just like, it's got oils in it, and it is, it's not a slow burning thing. It is just whoosh with really high heat intensity as well. And that then causes the green to ignite on it as well, and whoosh, the whole lot just goes up. And it's fast. You get a little bit of a breeze behind it, and a gorse fire can really rage very, very hot. It's extremely hot. So part of management of gorse, any moorland that's got a lot of gorse bushes growing on it, is to go through every now and then on big areas of it, and they cut it all back. And what they used to have was like a mower, a brush, a topper, a brush whacker, or something like that. We go through and just mulch it all up and leave it on the ground. But what I've noticed in some places where I've seen them having gone through is that the stuff hasn't been left on the ground. It's been picked up. And I've never actually seen them doing it, not in my area, but I've seen videos of it happening where they go through the bio baler and they bale up the gorse bushes and they cut them off. So you've got this, I'm assuming that those are being taken off to be made into pellets. Right? They're being cut off by this really, really heavy duty baler that we were using right here on the poplars, and they've been dragged away and they've been used as, turned into wood pellets. And this is a really good thing, because it's got to be cut off every year. And if it's not cut off, farmers that have a lot of gorse bushes on their land, in this country, up until, I think it's the 1st of March is the cut-off point. So through the winter, before the birds start nesting, up until the 1st of March, you are allowed to go and burn the gorse on your own land. Right? You can set fire to it and you can burn it off. That's the long-held traditional method of managing gorse, is to just go and set fire to it, burn the stuff off, and then in the summer, the new growth will come up through. And you've only got to have like 3 or 4 days without rain for the gorse to be dry enough for you to go and set fire to it. You go along with a lighter, light one of the bushes, and whoosh, off it goes. And I don't know about permits and where who you got to notify and stuff like that for doing the burning anymore in this country. I've got no clue about any of that. But I do know when I was a little bit younger, I know for a fact that the cut-off point for when you were allowed to do it was the 1st of March. You weren't allowed to do it after the 1st of March, but up until that point you were. But you'd always get those farmers that on the, middle of March, after you've just had a week of brilliant sunshine, they think that's the best time to go and burn it because, well, we've had nothing but rain for 6 weeks. So then they go along and they set fire to it, and that's when the fire brigade turn up. They don't just go and do it, set fire to it and stay there and watch the fire, though, because all the farmers know that it's illegal. So you're always going to get a few bad eggs that go along, and they break these laws, and these laws are there for a reason. The birds start nesting. As soon as that sunshine comes along, those birds are in those gorse bushes, and they're starting to put down nesting materials and stuff like that, and animals are waking up from hibernation, and it's all coming to life. That's why there is that cut-off point, but there's always going to be some farmers that think, well, that doesn't matter. I need to get rid of this gorse so that I've got more grazing for my stock, and I didn't do it earlier in the winter. You have not completed your task in the slightest. Right, you haven't even come close to finishing your task, so why are you even hinting that you have? I don't understand. What could possibly be completed about this? Let's spin you round a minute. And we'll go back through here. It does look like we're going to completely finish this field. We've got 19,000 litres of space left in this trailer, which I don't think we've got in this little bit of field right here. So it does look like we're actually going to get all of the wood chips off. And yes, this is something that you all asked for. I did think that this wasn't necessarily a good idea, but you all asked me for it. So we've now had a week of cutting and harvesting wood chips and me rabbiting on about stuff just in general. So we've got, and you'll always have the farm, and they'll go along and they'll light the gorse bushes and then they'll disappear. So then the fire engines turn up and they've got to control the fire and try and stop it from spreading too much, and they have to put it out. And then the farmer will come along and they'll sometimes have another go. And yeah, people have got into a lot of trouble for doing that. The cut-off dates, they're there for a reason. They are there for a reason, those cut-off dates. But anyway, we're not going to worry about that too much. I know that I've seen the stuff going up, and so I know that it burns really well. And I don't know, though, are those oils that are present in the evergreen crops, like gorse and pine and stuff like that, is that something that's actually beneficial to wood pellet production? Like, if you've got a load of wood pellets and wood pellets are being produced, is it a beneficial thing to have those oils from evergreen ones like pine and stuff like that? Is it good to have those in the pellets? Or is hardwood products better because of not having quite so many oils in them? Like deciduous trees, they don't have the same kind of oils and that in them that the pines do, that the evergreens do, and so they don't burn quite the same. And I know that there are some types of evergreens that have actually evolved to rely on fire in order to be able to reproduce. I can't remember what it's called. I know there's one in Canada, I think it's called the jack pine, and that's one that burns. It doesn't burn very, it doesn't make coals very well. It doesn't make a fire that burns down to coals. You haven't finished. How can you possibly tell me you've finished when you've still got all of this here on the ground to cut? I'm thinking of firing this person. I'm thinking this person doesn't really want their job. I'm thinking that working for Frithgar Incorporated is obviously not in their best interests. It's that they seem to be the sort of person that that doesn't really play well with others. Right, we've easily gotten all of this into this trailer. With absolutely no issues at all. I think one more pass and we'll have everything else into this trailer anyway. We'll have completed it. As long as it doesn't stop at the other end again and say, you know what, I can't be bothered with this, I'm going to stop, mate. I'm off home. What's he going to do? No, he's actually going to turn around. So, yeah, if anybody does know a bit more about wood pellet production than I do, those oils, like in the jack pines, they burn really hot, they burn intense, and they burn fast, but they don't burn down to coals, as far as I know. So, but the actual tree, the seeds from the trees, they don't grow unless they've been exposed to the heat of the fire, which is quite bizarre, really. So the entire tree, its life cycle has evolved to rely on being burned. And then, obviously, the ashes of the parent trees would act as a really good fertilizer for the tree itself. Right, now you have actually finished. I'll agree with you. This time you have finished. Let's go up through there. Right, I'll take you a minute. I will actually... I'm going to run this one down over here. I'll put the spout away, like that. And I'm just going to run it down the hill, down here. And then we'll jump back to our truck, and we're going to take those wood pellets, and we'll go and sell them. We need to go up to the mill, and we need to sell those. So we'll anchor you around there. We've got to take that one. I'm seriously considering... Right, what should we do with this one? You know what? We'll leave that one there for a minute. Let's deal with this one so that we're off the field. We're out of the way. I'm seriously considering... getting rid of the New Holland and then getting the Krone, because it's 1100 horsepower instead of 700 horsepower. I think it's going to be a lot better for pulling the cramper trailers around the field. I think that's going, because we do actually want it to be towing the trailers themselves around the field. For that particular job, I think that is definitely going to be the best option for us. This one, we're going to go up here. We'll go up this way for this one. Up round this road up here, as long as we don't tip over. Okay, I'm going too fast. Definitely going too fast up there. Let's bring it up here a little bit. And this is what I don't like about these types of roads, is all the trees overhanging them, and you can never quite see what you're doing with all the trees in the way. So you've got to kind of move it like this, and this is why I don't like roads like this when I'm doing time-lapse. On a time-lapse map, I despise having roads like this. I don't know what is going on with my map today. Right, I have got a lot of major lag going on in places, and I'm not quite sure why. It hasn't bothered us for the most part. Well, yeah, it was, well, I suppose it was a couple of days ago that we had it last going, but there's something going on with the map, I think. I'll bring you down here. We'll go up across this way. Up over here. And we should... There's the sawmill. Over that way. Nice little shortcut. We come right in round and we'll go into that sawmill. And we'll unload these wood chips. And we will see if it was worth doing all of that. Remember, we leased the forager and everything as well. And that did set us back like 16,000. I'm assuming that if we were to spend a little, have more crop that we were harvesting, that might work out a little bit better. But it's such a time-consuming process that I don't really think it is. The poplar bales, though, like doing the harvesting with the poplar bales, it was considerably easier, wasn't it? We didn't need massive amounts of horsepower. You wouldn't need to factor in the cost of a tractor because you'd already have a tractor on your farm anyway. So all you had to do was lease the poplar baler. And then you've got to be able to move the bales, right? We did have to be able to pick up the bales. Here I've just got 75,000 litres of wood chips. But that is roughly the same as what I picked up on the trailer previously. So I've got that full load on there. And that has brought us in 18,000 litres. $18,000. The poplar bales that we brought up, we had about 24,000, wasn't it? 26,000, something like that. So overall, in total, we've had 36, 40, just under 50,000. If we'd just done that with the baler, if we call it 50, just call it 50 for argument's sake. If we'd just done that with the baler, we would have had the cost of the baler to factor in. If we had done it with the forager, then, you know, just with the forager, instead of us spending... Actually, let's have a look. How much is that baler a second? I need to know this now. Baling technology, that one's in. And we can go up here, and it's that one right there. So 100,000, or if we leased it, 5 grand. Right, so you got 5 grand, plus you've also got running costs. So if you said 10 grand for the baler, off of your 50 grand, you then had the planting, you had to buy the stuff. So call it 15 in expenses, 35,000 off of that field profits. If we'd done the entire thing using the forager itself was... Now, we said 5 grand for the planting, so we're down to 45. Right? Then the forager, we've got the forager header over here. That's 25,000. That cost us 1,200 in leasing costs. And then we've got that one and this one over here. I put wide tires on that one. I did increase it slightly, so that goes up. So we got 20,000 on that one. Now, I said with the baler... That one was 5 grand, and then we had another 5 grand in running costs for the time that we were running it. So we'd have to apply the same rule to the forager. We had 20,000 in leasing costs, and we would apply a further 20,000 in running costs for the time that it takes to actually use it. So that's 40,000 plus the 5,000 in planting. That means for that field, if we'd done the entire thing with bales... we'd be looking at roughly a $35,000 profit. If we'd done the entire thing using a forager and we'd leased the forager as well as the header for it, we'd be looking at a $5,000 profit. So it's I mean, if you own the forager, right, if you're a bigger enterprise and you own the forager, then, you know, that's going to make a bigger difference. You'd probably... You could even buy the forage, the header, and you'd still make 20,000 profit, and you'd then own the header afterwards. Or if you didn't want to do it that way, if you wanted to lease the header, you'd be looking at, by our rules, 1,200, you'd be looking at 2,400, 7,500 in costs. So this field would have netted you a $42,500 profit if you owned the forager itself. If you were a big enough enterprise to own that forager, then you'd be looking at 42,500 profit for this field. If you didn't own it, then obviously it's altogether different. And yeah, that's when things start to get very, very expensive. Right, stop you there a minute, because you don't actually need to go any further. And we're going to want you up the top, and then we're going to go back to this one. And we're going to take this back to the shop, and... Right, we've got $44,000, so I do have enough now to get the Krone harvester. I could get that one. I've got wool there that I can sell as well. I've got that. That's, by the time that the crop is actually ready to harvest, which will be tomorrow, which we could start fast-forwarding time now. We've got no reason to keep it on this. Actually, we don't want to go too fast with this. We don't want to go too fast with this at all, because we're going to have weed coming up, and we've still got the case up the top that we've got to deal with. So let's just... We'll go to 5 o'clock, and we'll stop again. We'll have a look. We'll see what the progress is at 5 o'clock. Well, there we go, folks. I'm afraid that's it. We've run out of time, which means that we need to head on home. So if you've enjoyed this episode, then please hit down below and give us a like. And if you really enjoyed it, then please tell your friends all about me. Get them to come and watch as well. That would be awesome. And until next time, thank you very much for watching. This is Frithgar. Goodbye, and see you later.